Afternoon. Welcome to today's training. Thank you guys for hopping in with me. Today we're going to be covering a topic that is pretty important, I feel, especially for agents who work a lot with renters and with tenants. So today we're going to be covering converting renters into buyers. My name is Yolanda Guerra, for those of you who don't know me, and I just wanted to start by telling you guys a little bit about myself. So I have been with lifestyle since I was first licensed. I've been in this business for 24 years. Just kidding. That's actually how old I am. I am also the West Palm Beach branch manager with Marco Hernandez. He actually gave a training, I believe it was last week, on the compounding effect of long-term real estate. And I do work a lot in both rentals and sales. And I would say that I do work a good portion of both in my business. I would say 50-50% each. That's a little bit about me for those of you who haven't seen my face before, don't know me. Just wanted to introduce myself before we hop into the training for today. I'm not going to have you guys for too long, but I do want to share today. Our agenda for today is going to be covering 6 points that I think are very important when attempting to convert your past renters into buyers. Now, this specific training is not going to be the type of training that you guys might expect in the sense of like converting tenants that you've never met before into buyers. This specific training, I'm going to focus on tenants that maybe you have worked with in the past, someone that you helped lease a property, a tenant that you worked a year ago, that you helped them lease a property, tenants that know you personally, that you've closed a rental with. Those types of renters are the ones that I'm going to be focusing on for today's training. And so, of course, I do want to do a disclaimer. These are points that I have seen that have worked in my business. Everybody does their business in a different way. There are things that work for some agents that might not work for others. But I think that what I'm going to share is overall something that I have seen works very well with me, with the tenants that I have worked with in the past, people who know me, who have done a deal with me in the past. Obviously, they trust me. And so doing these couple of things has helped me convert a couple of my renters into buyers. So I do want to share, and we're going to be covering those 6 points. So to begin, and please feel free to interrupt me if you guys have a question or if you guys want to share something, anything like that. You guys are free to do that. You guys are free to unmute and just ask a question, or you guys can ask questions in the chat. But I do want to begin with our very first point for today, is treating your renters as you would treat a buyer or a seller. I think that this is super important. I have seen among other agents, I don't think I would say within lifestyle, but I have seen it very common habit within or among other agents, that sometimes we don't prioritize our renters as much as we do perhaps our buyers or our sellers, because obviously a rental is a rental. We think of it as like, okay, quick money, working with them, great, quick money, that's all I need. But there's so much potential in renters. I think for those of you who work a lot with renters, I think you see their pay stubs, you see their bank statements, you know how much they earn, you know whether, they would be approved, if they would be a good potential buyer. And so I think people have to keep that in mind, that it's so important to treat your renters as you would treat any other client, a buyer, a seller, any other client. You have to treat them the same. You have to do what you say you're going to do. If you're going to tell them that you're going to send them an email, send them the email. Don't forget. I know that we might get busy with perhaps a buyer or a seller, or at least I think in the industry that we're in, we get very busy very fast. And it's so easy to forget a less important client, I think I would say. Though I think we should treat all of our clients as they are the same, because there's potential in every single client that you work with, and all the connections that you meet. You never know whether that will potentially be a future purchase, a future sale. Connections is so important in our industry. So treating your renters the same way that you would treat a buyer or seller is crucial. Be professional, show them your value as an agent, show them why should they work with you. What's the importance about you? Be kind, be nice. I've met a lot of agents, and I've even had tenants who have worked with other agents before me. And then when I meet them, they tell me their bad experiences with other agents and why they're not as trustworthy, or every situation is different. But I think that showing your value as an agent, even in a rental, is super important. Why should they use you to find a rental? there are lots of tenants who can find rentals on their own, who have found rentals on their own through a property management company, or, just looking on their, like, by themselves. Why should they use you as an agent? Show them your value. What do you bring to the table? Why should they work with you? Being on time. This is so important. I think we all as realtors have a very bad rep for not being on time. And I think you being on time just shows the kind of professional that you are. Um, it's better for you to be there early and have to wait for your client who might, be delayed than they wait 10, 15 minutes for you to arrive. I know we get busy. I know that we're running up and down all over the place. I'm sure we have showings. We have things going on. Our life can get really crazy really fast, but being on time and doing what we say we're going to do is just, I think, the essence of what a good agent, what a good professional does. So this is obviously the very first point that I wanted to cover. Treat them as you would treat any other important client. Second point, save important dates. When we work with tenants, and when you have worked with a tenant, you have access to their IDs, you have access rent-free for those of you who use rent-free, to do their credit, background, eviction check. All of their important dates and information is in those reports. So when you're working with a tenant, it's so important that the minute that you get their ID or the minute that you get their rent-free application and it shows their birthdays, put that in your calendar, whether it's your CRM calendar, whether it's your personal calendar. What has worked personally for me is putting it on my iPhone. If I don't see it in my iPhone, I feel like I will forget and I don't send it. There are people who just automate it. Follow Up Boss, other CRMs and other platforms. They help you. They remind you, or they say, "Hey, don't forget to send a birthday. Don't forget to send a birthday uh, note or message to this particular client." That is so important, and it goes such a long way. I have gotten so many deals just by saying happy birthday to somebody because I have remained top of mind in that sense. I keep in contact with them. I show them that's not like, oh, okay, I got my check and forgetting completely about you, even though they're a tenant. Saving their dates, saving their important dates, whether that is their birthday, whether that's, I don't know, an anniversary. It's happened to me in the past where I'm at a showing and they're just like, oh, well, we can't go to this weekend because it's our anniversary. Oh my gosh, happy anniversary. Saving that in my calendar because next year when it's your anniversary, I'm going to remember and I'm going to say, hey, happy anniversary. I remember from last year. And that just goes such a long way because it shows people that you're not all about the sales. You're not all about the money. You're not all about the deal and the transaction. You're not transactional. You're being relational and you're caring about them as a person. And I think that if we are this way, if we show them that we care, they can even become friends. And then friends can lead to more, obviously, to more deals, to more transactions, but more than anything, showing them that you're there, that you care about them. Another thing that's super important is their lease expirations and renewals. So I have seen a lot of agents, at least newer agents, or maybe even experienced agents that I have seen that don't really follow up with their past tenants. They're always trying to get new tenants, always posting on Facebook Marketplace, on Craigslist, on social media, wherever it is that you generate your rental leads. They're always trying to generate new leads, but we kind of like forget to cultivate and keep in contact with the people that we have worked with in the past. What has worked personally for me is keeping in contact with the people that I have worked with in the past. I save their lease anniversary dates like 2 to 3 months before their lease expires. Let's say that we close on a deal today. Today is August 27th. I put a reminder in my calendar for 3 months before August of next year. I am going to be reaching out to them and sending them a quick message reminder, something along the lines of, hey, so and so, I hope you've been doing well. I just wanted to send you a friendly reminder that your lease is going to be expiring in the next 2 to 3 months. This is the perfect time and the perfect opportunity for you to consider whether or not you are going to be renewing your contract or whether you need to move. If you need to move, you already know I'm here to help and I'm more than happy to help you if you need me. And if you need help with the renewal process, let me know too. Even though I don't earn any money from helping them with that, I always offer my services to like just let them know that I'm there. Obviously, that is a business decision. Some people are like, oh, that's a waste of my time. I'm not like that. I think that it's important to show them that you're there to help them no matter what, because then you'll be their go-to always. They'll be like, oh, Yolanda always is like there. She'll help. So I offer them my services no matter what. From last year, I actually saw a little bit of a dip in tenants Ooh, sorry, the lights went out. But I saw like a dip in tenants. I wasn't getting as much feedback from like their usual places where I would generate my leads from for rentals. And what I started to do is I just started focusing on the people from the year before that I had worked with. And I reached out to them and I was like, hey, your lease is going to be expiring. Just letting you know, if you need to move, you already know that I'm here to help. And I kid you not, almost everybody either hated their landlord, or they wanted to move. I don't know. The place was falling apart and the landlord wasn't fixing the issues that they needed to get fixed. And they were just like, Yolanda, we need to move. We're ready to get started as soon as, in 2 months from now, whenever. I would keep that. And then I literally closed with the same people that I closed last year on rentals. I closed them this year as well. I kid you not, it was like a good 20 to 25 people. And I was like, this is crazy. Like everybody hated their landlord or everybody, and it was just the same people that I had worked with in the past. I was just working with them again because I was keeping in contact with them, reaching out to them, any excuse, birthdays, anniversaries, lease expiration renewals. This is super important. Save the important dates. This is just such a great excuse to reach out to your old tenants and it'll be it'll keep you top of mind. Third thing that I want to talk about is saving the information of the renters that you don't work with. This is really important. I think that we all speak with so many people in the day, and I was the type of person that if the renter, or like let's say I was working with a tenant and it just didn't work out. Let's say I got as far as collecting their IDs, their rents free, and I knew that they were qualified, but then I don't know, they found a rental with somebody else, or they just decided to renew their lease and they decided not to move forward. I would keep those people's information. If I got as far as getting their rent spree or getting their IDs and getting that information, I would save their birthdays to reach out to them, even though I never closed a deal with them. And I would also make sure to save the date when they told me that they found another rental. So if they told me, hey, I found another rental, I'd be like, okay, no worries. If you need a realtor in the future, I am more than happy to help. Top of mind, all that stuff, right? So what I would do is I would save their lease expiration date or approximate, because obviously I didn't know the exact date if they went with someone else. I would save an approximate date. And I would do the exact same thing I would do with other tenants that I had actually worked with and closed the deal with 2 to 3 months before. Hey, I remember that you told me that you had found a rental around this time. Just letting you know your lease is about to expire. If you need to move, I'm happy to help. I have had so many people that I never got to work with, at least the day that that time that I met them, but I followed up with them the year after and they decided to go ahead and work with me. So keeping, obviously, your database is so important. Keeping any email, any phone number that you get, any relationship, any conversation that you have, just saving those conversations and keeping that in the top of your mind is so important. I've gotten so many deals and so many rentals, and even those people have converted into buyers because I've bugged them. You just have to bug people. And I think Noel just did a training in our office the other day, and he says, just bug them until they tell you to F off. That's literally, it couldn't be, the truth. It's just absolutely the truth. You have to keep bugging people, or in this sense, not bugging them, but like, reaching out to them. If you collect the IDs, like I said, you say their birthdays. If they tell you to find a rental somewhere else, follow up again in a year, they might want to move again. All right. So the fourth point is most renters are found on Facebook Marketplace. This has been something that has worked for me a lot. Most renters are found on Facebook Marketplace. And after doing a deal with them, what I do is that I add them on Facebook as a friend. Since obviously the majority of my rentals are actually from Marketplace. So what I do is I just go back, find them on Facebook, add them as a friend, and I post my accomplishments as a realtor. Let's say that month you got top producer in rentals, top producer in sales, whatever it may be, post that. If they're your friend on Facebook, they will see that. I actually had a renter. I never ended up closing a deal with them. This is a true story. I spoke with them briefly on Facebook Marketplace, and they told me, "Oh, we want to rent something super cheap." It was like in the low price range, something that any other agent might have said, "Oh, that's not worth my time, not worth my while, just ignore them." I was like, "That's okay, no worries, I'll help you." I ended up, sending them places. They ended up reaching back out, and they were like, "No, you know what? We actually really, really want to buy. We're gonna wait. We're gonna save our money instead of spending it on a rental. We're gonna save our money, and we're just gonna try to save as much as we can. Can you send us a lender's information?" And I was like, absolutely, I'll go ahead and send you my lender's information. Sent them my lender's information. They got pre-approved, realized that they weren't ready. They're like, we have to save more money. I obviously totally forgot about them. This was the one person that I totally forgot about. They end up reaching out a couple of months later in the next year, and they're just like, Yolanda, I think we have enough money. And mind you, I never met them in person. I just spoke with them briefly on Facebook Marketplace. They reach back out. I think we're ready. I connect them back again with the lender. They redo their pre-approval. They're ready to go. And we end up they buy their first property with me. And then later on, when we're at the closing table and we're like, mingling and whatnot, they're just like, why we reached back out to you? Because I remained friends with you on Facebook. You added me and I was seeing that, you were doing so good. I was showing my wife and you're look, she's doing great. She's a top producer in rental. She's a top producer in sales. She's doing great. Like this is an actual person. It's an actual professional. I'm not a scam on Facebook. So I think this is super important when you add the people that you speak with. Obviously not everybody. Don't add everybody on Facebook Marketplace, please. But when you add these people that you have had conversations with, that you have known, they see what you're doing. And if you're posting about real estate, they see that you're a professional. They see that you know what you're doing. And then that makes them want to reach out to you. Now, going on to our fifth point, remaining top of mind. I think I've covered this a little bit in every single thing, but remaining top of mind, I think, is super important. And what I basically do is I follow up with them during the holidays. I think we all do this with anybody, a buyer, seller, anybody. This goes again into tenants as well. You reach out to them with any excuse. A month or two after their move-in date, check in with them. Don't just completely forget about them and just then follow up on their birthday. Check in with them. Be like, hey, just wanted to see, how is it going? Do you like the rental? Do you like your landlord or do you hate him? Is he awful? Is he good? Do you like your neighborhood? Do you have good neighbors or do you have wacky neighbors that you hate? This is important. Let them know of any new loan programs that might help them. If you have a lender partner that, lets you know about the new programs or new loan products that are available, what I do is I reach out to my tenants. I'm like, hey, I know that buying is something that's in your future. I know it's a future goal of yours. Just wanted to let you know that these are the programs that are available to you. Hometown Heroes, the I-10 program, 100% financing loans, like all these programs, when they come out and I have information on them, I send it to them. I share it to them. And I was like, hey, I think this is information that you would want to know. Not sending it in a salesy way, but letting them know like, hey, I was thinking about you. I know you told me that you want to buy. And when you speak with your tenants, obviously, I think majority of tenants, I can't say 100% of them, but I do know that some people do actually love renting, but majority of tenants do want to purchase. That is their goal in the future. I think everybody's goal, right? They want to own real estate. So as you're helping them with the rental, asking them, what is it like, is buying something that you want to do in the future, especially if you see that they're qualified, especially if you see that there would be a great potential buyer. Is that something that's in your future? Is that something that you would want to do? They will open up and they will say, well, yes, but this and this and this is happening, so we can't right now, or this and this is happening, we're waiting for this to happen. And then they kind of like open up to you and then you kind of know, okay, this is what they need in order to be able to get to that point. And so you just keep in contact with them. Following up is literally key. Keeping in contact with them, remaining top of mind, because any realtor can come into the picture and then they totally forget about you. They totally forget that you're the person that helped them. So you have to keep following up and touching base with them. If friends on social media, something that I do all the time is I always like, react, and comment on my clients' posts. If I've worked with them, I always react if they're posting a picture of their kid, of their dog, of whatever, a life accomplishment, anything that it might be. I always like and react to their posts. I comment on it. I'm like, oh my gosh, so cute, whatever it may be, just to kind of like, they remember me. And if we're friends, they're seeing what I'm posting too. Obviously, be mindful, of course, if you're being friends with your clients, be mindful of what you're posting, be mindful of what you're doing. Some people have personal Instagrams and Facebooks, and then other people have, their business profiles. I just decided to just use one. That was my own personal decision. Some people have two. I just decided to use my personal as my business. So I post obviously family related things. I post vacations, but I also post, like my professional stuff, like if I'm a top producer or if I'm doing well, or if I'm showing a house or, anything like that. So obviously if you're going to be friends with your clients, be mindful of what you're posting. Try not to get political. Try not to get, obviously it's your Instagram, it's your social media. You can do whatever you want. But if we're thinking about, possibly working with these people in the future and remaining top of mind to them, you want to make sure you're being prudent, you're being wise in what you're posting. All right. So lastly, I think that this is also something that a lot of people kind of just goes over their head. Ask for referrals. Let them know. Like even for people that you might have a conversation with and it might amount to nothing. You never close a rental, you never close a sale with them, you never do nothing. Ask for referrals. Tell them, obviously, you're a realtor. Be like, hey, do you know anybody that's thinking of moving, whether that's buying or renting? Is anybody in your family, anybody, any friends, anybody that you know is moving? You'd be surprised how they tell you, oh, actually, my mom or my cousin or whomever, and then they send you a bunch of referrals. And before you know it, you have like 3 deals out of just one person. So ask people for referrals. Tell them, if you just keep me in mind, if you ever know of anybody that's moving, just please keep me in mind. Any referrals are appreciated. And you'd be surprised how many people send referrals over your way and how many deals you could end up doing, purchases, sales from that one person that might be the tenant. So don't underestimate your tenants, guys. Tenants have actually been the bulk of my business. They have turned so many renters that I've worked with, because I've done these 6 points, they have eventually turned into buyers. And so these are things that we can implement in our business in order to try and convert those people. Because I think Though a lot of people implement mailers and they implement EDDMs for renters and all that stuff. I think that that's great. And I do believe that that works as well, which I have done in the past as well. But I do think that it's more effective when you're reaching out to people who know you already, people you've worked with, people who know you, who trust you, who know that you're not a scam, who are friends with you on Facebook and Instagram, who are seeing what you're doing on the daily, those kind of people that, you already built rapport with, people that you have already established a relationship with. Those are the people that will reach back out to you if you keep in touch with them. If you just completely forget about them and then, oh, hey, are you renewing again next year? Not even saying happy birthday, not reaching out to them, within a year. I mean, I personally, if I was a tenant, I would be like, oh, she's just reaching back out because she wants another deal. You know what I mean? So try to keep in touch with them. Be relational. Show that you care. Don't just be transactional. At the end of the day, it is a waiting game. Patience is definitely key, and that goes to say with everything that we do in our industry. The worst thing that can happen is that they decide to rent again. Let's say you reach out, hey, are you ready to buy? And they say, oh no, I'm actually gonna rent again. Okay, I can help you rent again. Boom, at least you got another rental, even if it doesn't amount to a sale. Eventually it will if you keep in contact with them. The more that you work with them, the more important trust that will be established, and the more you will be their likely go-to realtor when they're ready to buy. So I did want to conclude with this little motivation, since it is a waiting game. It is patience is definitely key. I wanted to end with this quote that says, "Patience is bitter, but its fruit is definitely sweet," by Jean-Jacques Rousseau. That is what I have for you guys today. If you guys have any questions, I am open to answering any questions. Anybody wants to share anything. Thank you guys so much for listening to me. Appreciate you guys.
I have a question.
Sure.
How would you, if you have ever, which I have tried to do, and it was a little hard to try to farm in a apartment building that has like their own management company, like that sits downstairs. And I, went to them directly and I said, I wanted to know if I was able to advertise to them, to the tenants. And they told me no, I wasn't allowed to. And the lady who worked downstairs stated her statement to me was, well, most people who rent, they don't leave to buy homes. They only rent. And I was like, okay, I guess that was her way of turning me down. But I wanted to know, I didn't want to give up. So I wanted to know if you knew a way that, I don't go against their rules, but I'm sure, getting to people who like, they have a building that's huge that probably has about 200 tenants. Like
Right.
how for me to get to those people who I do believe there might be, out of the 200, it might be a good 20 that want to buy or,
Sure.
so what is a suggestion?
So obviously, please be aware of the rules. We don't want to get you in trouble. I don't want you to be getting yourself in trouble for any means, right? But I would say, depending on, I don't know, I don't think you specified what kind of way you were trying to reach out to them, door knocking, or what it is that you were trying to
Yes,
do.
I wanted to try to do door knocking.
So what
And I
I would
just
try
wanted,
to
I
do
really,
is,
yeah, I just wanted to like, like either like give like a door hanger or just, something like they know that if they want to move out of this apartment building, I'm here to help them for purchase.
so something that I have done, obviously be aware of the rules. I don't want you to get in trouble, but something that I have done and that has worked for me is just doing mailers. And the way that I do that is I go, now this is not for a specific building though. This is for leases that I know are going to expire soon. And you want to kind of like, but this is reaching to a targeted audience that obviously you haven't met with, you haven't worked with before. It's basically like shooting your shot like we do with mailers, with purchases and sales and all that kind of stuff, all that good stuff. So what we do is we go into the MLS. I go into the MLS. I see properties that went under contract, leases that went under contract within the last year, that are about to expire, haven't expired yet, but are about to expire, and then send mail or like a advertising, a loan product, or whatever it is that you use for your advertising for renters and to get ready to buy, a down payment assistance program, hometown heroes, whatever it is. You can mail that to those people. It's not a specific building though. It's for leases that are about to expire, people who are about to make a big decision. Because when you're renting, you can either make one of two decisions, well, three. You can either stay in the rental, renew your rental; two, you can find another rental; or three, you can jump into buying. So you can promote to those people. That's what I have done. it's not for a specific building though. I would say don't do the door knocking if she said you're not allowed to, or if that person said you're not allowed to. I don't want you to get in trouble, but there are other ways. I mean, you can send mail to them. You can obviously mail a building. That's something that you can do, obviously. So you can just kind of like send your marketing material over to them that way. Hopefully that's something that helps, but definitely don't break the
Okay. Okay. So sending it to the building itself or I have to do that through the postal service?
You have to do that through
And
the service. Yeah, you have to send it to each individual because then you don't want to. I don't think that he could forbid you from sending mail, but obviously you're not going
gotcha.
to be.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Does anybody else have any other questions, comments, suggestions, input?
This was great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Anyone else? Are we all
Oh,
good?
this was good. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, guys, you're welcome. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Hopefully, you guys learned something. I appreciate you guys. We'll see each other next time, okay? Take care, guys.
All right. Bye.
Appreciate you
Thank
and pray
you.
for you.
Bye.
Have a good day.
You too.
Thank
Bye-bye.